Right. Okay, I think we are live. Okay, so thank you for joining me on the Sunday monthly webinar. So today's schedule, it will be first, we will go through the market planning, what we always do. Before I do that, I'll put onto the chat box. That will be a link. I suggest, well, from now, I probably will send it out once a week on our Discord group or even on maybe on Facebook. This is a document that I use myself to plan the trading opportunity weekly. And it is very, very important that you don't change the plan. I'll put that on YouTube live as well. So whoever is watching on YouTube will be able to see it on the chat box. If you have any problem, you can shout out or drop me a message on the chat box. Let me open this first. Google document form. Okay, now it's open and I'm going to share the screen. Right. So in a second, you should be able to see my screen. There's a US 500 chart from IG. So it's a S&P 500 chart. Very, very important that we analyze this first. Okay, so you can see on my documentation, the first one that on my form is S&P 500. You need to clearly know what is your plan for next week. Are you buying? Are you selling? Are you sitting out? Okay. I can't stress enough that why I always start off with S&P 500, because the stock market drive pretty much everything else currently, or pretty much every single week. You use a simple terms like, I know you probably heard the forex market is gigantic, so much more volume, so much more money involved than the stock market. A day of trading volume of forex is about 7 trillion, and a stock market in the US is probably like 300-400 billion, so which is a lot bigger in the forex market. But if you think about it, use a very simple term, if Nike sells their shoes in Europe, they have to exchange the sales in euro back to US dollar. So if Nike sales drop, the currency exchange drop as well. So therefore, that's why I look at the stock market, because company drive sentiment of the forex market. So let's have a quick look of S&P 500. First and foremost, you need to know what trend is in. I would suggest doing a weekly first as your main time frame. Bare minimum is daily, but there's no harm going to have a look at weekly, because a bigger time frame, you need to first look at what trend are we in. We are on the uptrend because this is high and high. The high points is keeping on breaking higher. This is what we call a low point. All right. Again, the direction is going this way. So weekly, is on the uptrend. Don't argue. If you can't see it, work needs to be done. All right. Now weekly on the uptrend, and you're allowed to drop down to a daily and see any confirmation. Clear as day on the daily as well, we are on the uptrend. Okay. So same thing, the high point through here, you only need to find 3 high points, 3 or 4. All right. Low. Look for the obvious one. So the direction is up. And when the direction is up, only thing that you think of doing is this: buy. Don't argue just yet. All right. By the middle of the month, maybe a week or more or so, I might turn into the seller, but not S&P 500, something else, which today I'll drill down. Why am I doing that? So apart from technical trend trading, I have other tools to guide me when the trend is likely to turn. All right. Now, we are on the uptrend, but the current price action is this daily bar. We can see from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is in red. So red is seller bar. Okay. So currently we are back in what we call phase 2. So on an uptrend going up, this area here is called phase 1. All right. We don't buy when price is already in phase 1. We look for opportunity that the pullback here, like here, which I did already. If you follow me, I did buy in around this area. It's called phase 2. We look for an area of a phase 2, potentially end, going back to phase 1. That's where you capture the earliest trading opportunity. All right. So today's main purpose is how you plan to capture that. If you see, I have a circle, blue box, and also this trend line right here in this area, PIV. Okay. And also you see this red wriggly line is the 50 EMA, and also this is the previous higher low area and trend line. This is, I like that. You can see previously when it touched the 50, interact with this trend line, price tend to bounce higher, meaning that it could potentially going back to phase 1. Listen carefully when I said potentially. You know, although I have been trading for 10 years, one thing I cannot tell you for sure is when price come back to this trend line and circle area, is 100% going back to phase 1. This is impossible for me to say that because I don't know, but there's a high probability it will because of history. All right. So I was talking to Brent earlier. Likely I'm not going to trade tomorrow because I need another bar to come to this area. One more seller bar to come into this area. Hence, I can take another day off tomorrow on Monday to do something else. Okay. That's not going to, I don't think I'm going to trade because tomorrow, if it's a seller bar, it's likely to, the selling is going to likely continue until to end of the day, until 5 or 6 o'clock. Because in the morning, if US, unless US sells a lot, which I don't think it will, because it's not even, they're not even waking up yet. They're still in the weekend. So you know, they really would have to come in and kick in this on sales maybe around 2:30 UK time. And then by then 5, 6 o'clock, I don't really suggest people jump in around to do a trade at 7 o'clock on the indices. If you think about it, US is off. UK is already way off. Asia is already sleeping. You don't have the liquidity to create a move that you want to, you know, capture. So I never do that, especially on a Monday, right? So now we have this in here. We want to buy at around 4,360 in this PIV. And what's this PIV? Is monthly pivot. Okay. If I put on the history here on IG, so history pivot point, and you see that is in May, when price interact with the 50 EMA, the red line, trend line, pivot, what happened? It done that. So if you do taking a trade right here, you could have taken some profit around this area. If you're advanced, you could have captured like good profit around here because take here, take some scaling and, you know, break out whatever. This is a good trend that we're going to, you know, focus on when the opportunity comes. All right. So now from previous history, we know this is significant. That's why this could be very significant to me. All right. Now, what we do is on IG, put a price level point in here, buy price. I said 4,360. Put a little bit higher in case it doesn't come there. It doesn't have to. So 4,368 sounds like a good number to me. When price comes to this area, I'll get an alert on my phone or my desktop, whatever it is. Then I know, all right, price is now coming close to my target buying area. Then I get prepared. How do we do that? Later on, we'll drill down to a system. On Friday, I have a friend that said that, yeah, it's good time to buy. And I was very relaxed. I didn't want to buy. We did see some buying after the non-farm payroll. If you don't know about non-farm payroll, it's the first Friday of the month that the US provide data on jobs, non-farm related job data. It's very important. So you usually see some spike, which is here. Price did try to break higher. Okay. And when it broke higher, I did get an alert. I could buy if price stay above 4,410, which is this horizontal line, this area. But you already see price to smash back down, meaning that this is just an intraday movement. And the phase 2 on a daily, because this is 1 hour, may not be done just yet. If it stay above here, great. Okay, the buyers is winning the battle. I'm happy to look for buying opportunity on Monday open, US open, right here, smaller time frame to go long. But because this horizontal line is now broken lower, I have zero interest. Would I sell it? It is, you can consider to sell it, even though I think price are likely to draw down to this area. I personally would not go to sell it just because it's not going to be easy sell, because you can see selling, buying, selling, buying. So you could get into a trade and then it kicks you out and go again. I don't want to waste too much of my mental capacity, because it's probably one of the most important things for me, the mental capacity, than anything else. So I will probably leave it until price come back to this 4,360 area. I will be looking for buying opportunity, which later part of the webinar, I will show you how to do that. Another thing that is very important that I look at is from trading view. Although IG is a fantastic platform, something they don't have to help me to do an analysis is, this is called SPY, which is the ETF of S&P 500. If I may put it into two charts to show you. So on the left-hand side, you have the IG. On the right-hand side, you have the trading view. It's the same instrument. If I go back to a daily, same time frame, you'll notice something is different to between each other. On the right-hand side, you'll see more gaps. On the left-hand side, you don't have gaps. Reason being is this one trade 24 hours, 5 days a week, because it's a future chart. They project their after hours movement. With the S&P ETF SPY, it is an instrument that you only trade during stock market open hours. Therefore, when it's not trading and if the next day you saw that gap higher, meaning there was some aftermarket or pre-market movement driven the price higher. Okay, it's very advanced. I don't want to go into gaps, but I use it to my advantage. Okay, in that sense, you will see. I'll open up the trading view chart. I just want you guys to focus on two of the indicator we talk about, which later on I will go into a bit more detail. This is just the planning. The yellow line at the bottom is called accumulation distribution. So the indicator right here, the second one, accumulation distribution. The blue line is called advanced decline line. Let's talk about the first one on the top, the yellow line first. This one measures buying or selling volume, all right? So when the line going higher means more buying volume. When it's dropping, meaning more selling volume. So accumulation, distribution, all right? At the moment, the accumulation line still way high at the high points, and pay attention to this high point here. So the high area, which is around this area. When current price barely broken, but the buying volume is already broken the previous swing high, meaning that there is more buying volume in there, which is very healthy. It's very important on, well, actually one of the most important indicator mixed with price that I use. So remains bullish, healthy bullish. This one, the blue line, advanced decline line, tracks the 500 underlying stock inside S&P 500. Also is going upward, meaning the underlying 500 stocks, people are bullish, people are buying. So it gives me more confidence to buy S&P 500. So this is how I use TradingView. Okay, one of it. Of course, there's other way that I use it, but I don't want to drill down to that too much. So now you have that to confirm is bullish. The final one that I want to quickly touch base, I don't want to go through this, I will be going through that, is the seasonal data of S&P 500 from my good friend, used to be my old mentor, Ray. He built this website. You go to indexes, look for the S&P 500 index. Loading up. I think everyone is checking on a Sunday. And I want you guys to focus on the top area here. 86%, 44%, 84%. Pre-election is a high correlation with the current year movement. So I will use that today. I will ignore the 20-year seasonal pattern and put a pre-election pattern, because pre-election means next year in the US is election. This is the year before election. So this is a purple line, and I want to bring out the current year movement. You compare that, it looks very similar. So the yellow line is the current year movement. You can see in June, we had a pop higher, pull back, and then come back. And you can see we're now really, really close to this. We are having a little pullback and the final jump to around the mid, potentially the 19-20 of July, and price start to dip all the way to October, depending how messy this area is. All right. So it kind of matches what we are talking about, because tomorrow is the 10th. All right. Here is projecting 11, 12 will make the base on low, and then bound it's a bit higher. So technical price action is indicating 1 or 2 days more. My powerful seasonal data is indicating a 1 or 2 days more pullback. So I'm waiting for that. So this is how I plan my first trade right here. I'm buying. So click that. Oh, I'm not allowed to click. I need to use another account because I'm the holder. But yeah, you guys, if you use that on the document, click on that and click on buying yourself. That way, you would you will have the a note on, okay, I want to buy S&P 500. Okay, so that part is done. The next one that I want to look at is the Nasdaq. All right, Nasdaq is another stock indice in the US. Mainly is the technology sector. Again, you know, weekly very quickly. I know already because I do that every week. We are on a very bullish uptrend. So drop down to a daily, we still are on a uptrend until this is broken, but it's not. So now same thing, I want to price to come back, interact with this monthly pivot area, get the exact price. So 14,880. So same thing. Buy. Set. All right, I'm waiting for that to pull back a little bit and then bounce on that. Seasonal data is exactly the same. I don't want to, you know, go through that. But if you guys want to check out MMC, I'll drop a link later in this video here. Actually, yeah, I'll find a link and drop it to you guys. You can use my link to join. I think you can have a month trial on that. And also, I'm planning to run more webinar to use the MMC platform because it's fantastic. Right, so I want to buy on NASDAQ. On the list, you just click on buying again on the documentation. Dow Jones. Let's go to a weekly first. Picture is still on the uptrend, but pay attention to it. 34,500 area. If I drop down to a daily, you will see a horizontal line, which is the resistance area. Okay. This is multiple times we tried to break. We couldn't break. Now, if this previous higher low, if we break that and stay below here, be very careful. All right, that's what I'm cautious on that, because if Dow Jones Industrial, another major US indice, if it decided to do a change of trend on the daily, my buying on S&P 500 on NASDAQ, either the target will be shorter, I'll be taking some profit on the table, or I may not even trade it at all. All right, because I like to see all the major indices do the same thing. I don't want to argue, oh, Dow Jones already into a downtrend. Oh, NASDAQ looks like it's holding. Shall I take a trade? Right? You don't need to win all the trades. You just need to follow your rules that, you know, don't take silly trades. That breaks your rules. But my rules are very strict because I look after a decent size of account, and I have some investor money that I look after. I can't just because, yeah, you know what, it looks okay, take the trade. I don't do that. I always go for quality over quantity. So with NASDAQ, with Dow Jones, I'm okay to put a buying in here, but you may want to make another note. Price must not change the trend on a daily. Otherwise, I would have to replan what I'm going to do for S&P 500 or NASDAQ. All right. But I'm not saying that you have to be as strict. You may say to me, oh, the S&P is still on the uptrend, I want to buy. Okay, great. It's no problem. That's your rules. All right. Final one on the US index that I want to look at is the Russell. Oh, okay. Looks healthy. Although this is one, but the reason why I'm looking at 1 hour, because I already know weekly and daily what I'm doing. So weekly on these, we just have a change of trend. We don't have an uptrend until this is broken. All right. We do have two lows in here, and it's broken the previous high. So we have a change of trend on a weekly. Daily, we do have an uptrend, because usually when it's a change of trend on a weekly, we have an uptrend until this previous low. So around the 1800 area is broken, we still have an uptrend, but you do see a trend line resistance that I draw in here. So I like to see price continue to break this higher and try and fill that to the 2000 area. All right. Russell has been the weakest of the four indices. Russell is more the small cap stock in the US, and it's been hit the hardest. But I do like to see this break to 2000, because if it does, then meaning even the weakest is joining forces to the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. So if the weakest one is doing well, the strongest one should do a lot better, right? So for me, I am sitting out on Russell. Russell's not even on my list on that, because it's not something that I trade. I just use it as a reference. But one positive sign is on Friday earlier, you said you remember on S&P 500 I have a horizontal line that is broken lower. Russell have not. Russell still managed to have a uptrend on a 1 hour, so still very strong. So meaning the weakest one is showing some strength. So underlining, I'm still happy to be a buyer of the indices next week, and we will, taking a trade is one part, but where to take profit is another. It's a piece of art. So with me, I'll be keeping a very close eye once I'm in, say, S&P 500. I'll be keeping a close eye on Russell and Dow Jones, see what they're doing. Are they showing me strength? Are they showing some weakness before, before my profit target? That would determine my management on that, But if you are a member, so I will show you when I'm likely to take the trade, unless it's the last minute, okay? But I already given you a hint. Tomorrow is unlikely on S&P 500 and Nasdaq. So be prepared. Make yourself available on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's what I'm going to say. All right. And I will try my best on Tuesday morning and Wednesday. But if you know, on YouTube Live, my business partner Luca will run a Tuesday webinar for US session. He will trade quite similar to me, that's no doubt. I know that he will be looking to buy S&P 500 and Nasdaq. So if you follow that, you might be able to ask question or capture the opportunity. Right, so the US is done, and the next place that I want to go to is I'm going to fly to Japan now. I'm going to have a look at the Nikkei. Perfect. We are still on a daily uptrend until this cleanly break. Although technically it's trying to break, but it's not cleanly break. So we do still have an uptrend, but there is an issue. The issue is, I will draw that. It's the resistance. We may not break. Remember, on the seasonal data on S&P 500, we've got about a week window. A week means 5 days. So maybe price will just come to this area and then we check. With breaks, well, let it do its things first. I don't know, but you want to know we have a resistance around this area here, okay? So what I'll do is I'm happy to buy on the Nikkei. So on the notes, if you want to put on there, buying. I don't trade an awful lot of Nikkei because it's my sleeping time. Okay, I like to trade at the open. And then tomorrow morning is too early for me to trade. You can trade a daily bar, something like this here. Just take the bar. If you stay in the trade, you still get about 2, 3, 4 to 1. So in here, I assume if you take this bar, you'll get around the 2 to 1 to this area. Okay. So if you like to trade the Asian, I would definitely put Nikkei as one of the option in that to be a buyer. So it still looks healthy. Hang Seng, that's where I'm from, Hong Kong. I don't want to buy. I already know I don't want to buy because it's the weakest. Is already having if you go to a weekly, we have a weekly downtrend. All right. And remember, we have a weekly uptrend in the US market. We have now a complete opposite on the Hang Seng. We have a weekly downtrend. So it is the weakest of the stock market, one of the weakest anyway. Maybe somewhere else that I don't trade weaker, so I can't say, but definitely is one of the weakest in the major stock market. Hong Kong is one of the most, traded stock market in the world. But we do have a weekly downtrend on that. Therefore, you see this high point. Am I not drawing? My mouse playing a little bit. Right here is going lower. So we do have a weekly downtrend. So this could break. We could go and visit a lot lower. 17,000, 16,000. Don't know, but we shall see. But it's on my list to actually sell. Just give me a second. I might change my mouse. Just bear me a sec. Oh yeah, better. So yeah, this weekly downtrend on Hang Seng. So I could actually not could. It's on my list to sell it, but I will time it with the weakness from US indices. The trading system that I use is very simple, right? Market correlation, and look for the weakest to sell, look for the strongest to buy. So S&P 500 is the strongest, so I'm looking to buy. Even though when they show weakness, I wouldn't be the first one jump into to sell the strongest. No point, right? It's at the end of the day, as a trader, technical trader, I am looking for the best trading opportunity to capitalize in the market, not to try and do hard thing, try to be a hero in the market. There's no hero in there. All right. Usually hero die. I don't want to die in the stock market or the financial market. Right. So through here, I want price to come back to this area here, because you can see that was the previous high, lower high on the daily. And I want price to come back and show rejection around the 19,500 area. Then with a good price action, like something like this, a small high test bar, a pin bar like this, all you do is put your stop loss here, entry here, bam. That's it. That's all you do. All right. Very simple. Don't need to overcomplicate things, because like I said, Hong Kong is, I don't want to trade out the opening time. I need my beauty sleep. I don't care how much money it potentially will make me. I want to sleep, because without my sleep, I can't function. All right. So on that, once it's go to this area, I would suggest a good price action, sell, take profit, first profit here, second profit would be here. That's my plan on Hang Seng. Okay, so overall, now you should develop a picture that the US is healthy, Nikkei still healthy, Hang Seng is the weakest, all right? And then if you want to go through, drill down on the European indices, up to you, exactly the same. But for me, it's enough. I already know what the DAX is doing. The DAX is still on an uptrend. Quickly, if you look at that, still on uptrend unless this is broken. So I think we will see a bounce. I like to see a bounce as well on the German DAX, but I think prices will probably struggle around the 16,000 area in here. That would be my target if I'm going to take the German DAX. So very unlikely I will be, but that would be something that you may want to pay attention to. That it won't be the swing high, because if you are more advanced, you will know this is potential head and shoulder pattern developing. All right, meaning although we have an uptrend, the trend is more going sideways rather than a strong uptrend. That's a strong uptrend. This is currently not. So although it's uptrend, is a weak uptrend. So if you do decide to take it, make sure you take some profit around the 16,000 area. I would do that. Okay. So now develop the picture of I want to be a buyer mainly on the stock indices from US next week. Then what's the plan on forex? We'll go into that. But before I continue, do you guys have any question? If you have any question, you can ask me or drop me a message. If not, I will continue. All right. So now you should have now a picture that is more risk on market. When I say that risk on market means people want to take more risk to buy stock. So what do they do with currency side of things? Last week, if you follow my social media, if you're a member of us, you will know that I said I like to see dollar break this area here, which Friday it did break. All right. Once it's breaking below on the daily, we have a downtrend. Yeah. So because this blue box hasn't been breaking higher, so we do still have a downtrend on the daily and weekly. So I want to be a seller. So now a heavy selling on a Friday. What can I sell that with? Euro is the complete opposite of dollar index. I already draw in the box, but because his buying is very, very strong. So I don't think I want to see the retracement back to this blue box anymore because it's way too much. Okay, weekly. Let's have a look at the weekly. All right. Okay. Interesting. Last week's movement. I'm now using the weekly pivot as my guide. If I am right, tomorrow or tonight, you may see the pivot come up to this area here, around the 10934 area. Soft level, because it's 1 hour. You see the interaction through here, through here, through here. All right. So I'd like to see price come back to here, perhaps. Maybe tomorrow afternoon, could be Tuesday. I would more eager on Tuesday. I would like to see a retracement back to that, and then look for a smaller time frame change of trend in here to go long on euro. So euro, I want to be a buyer, so I want to sell the dollar. So on the list after the indices, you can see on US dollar, are you buying, are you selling? So happy to put sales here, buying here. Okay, so that's how you use your the document that I share with you guys through here. Now you may want to wait until tomorrow to see where this weekly PIV pivot stepping up, and then set your alerts. But with me, I will have another note say that pay attention to the new weekly pivot and the area of around 109.30.40 area. Okay, to go long. So wait for that to pull back. One thing that I really like to do is when daily's already back to phase one, I said don't trade in phase one. You can drop down to 4 hour. All right, we are on the phase one. That's actually clearer in here. Look for a pullback on a 4 hour and trade the 4 hour trend. So something like that. Come back and go, come back and go. Pay attention when it's really trending, especially for first change of trend on a 4 hour. Price don't really break below this blue EMA, so 20 EMA. So you can see the blue line is stepping up already. So around this area here, look for a good price action with the 20 EMA plus. Like I said earlier, this weekly pivot is likely to step higher. Use all of this to your advantage to trade. All right. So I will be definitely looking at more the 4-hour time frame on euro dollar. Okay. 20 EMA. Weekly pivot. And then finally, the good price action to go long. All right. So I want to be a buyer of euro, a seller of the US dollar. Target, plenty. Well, I said plenty more than old. My aim on that is great. You can see I have a trend line on the daily. So we could see, now I'm going to use the monthly pivot because this is just to guide me as a target. We could see plenty of room anyway to around this 11133. So from here, draw it. Now, if pull back, jump to here. If you get it in an elegant entry, we're talking about 500% return. All right. One trade like this makes your month. You don't need to work anymore. Once you capture one trade like this, you don't have to jump into the market and look for another trading opportunity. All right. I will. But what I usually do is when I get into a nice trade like this, I stay in and capitalize as much as I can. And when I do take on a next trade, my risk will reduce to really, really little. Okay. So usually I take, say, I don't know, £2,500, £3,000. And then when I decided, when I'm winning on a trade like this, making 300-400%, the next trade I'm going to trade maybe 500 or £1,000. That's it. All right. And then if I do win a few more on the trade, sometimes I'll reduce down to £100 just to keep myself in the market as a practice, but it's not really trading for money anymore. All right. So that's top of my list on euro. I want to buy. Another one is, let's have a look at pound. Huh? Ooh, very, very bullish. I think if I'm not mistaken, Luca might have taken the trade here. I'm not sure. He mentioned he would. Yeah, we are back in the trend. We don't have any major resistance until 1.3. So 1 British pound to 1.3 US dollar. Finally, we've seen pound to gain a bit more. So again, drop down to a 4-hour. Have a look at a level that you want the price to pull back to. I think I like, again, I like the 20 EMAs or the 50 EMAs on the 4-hour. Something around here. Maybe a touch higher, actually. Around this area. Again, I think monthly pivot is not as relevant because it's already above. Yes. Weekly is the one that I'll be looking at. Right. Perfect. So the weekly, wow, perfect. Because last week, if you be aggressive, you could take in the trade, but that's okay. Let's have a look at the weekly pivot, but I don't think it's gonna probably gonna step up around to this 12748 area. Look for a pullback to this area here, around this area. Good price action. I could be a buyer of pound, but it depending on which one give me the cleanest entry, either euro or the pound. That is top of my list to buy, but pay attention to this. Again, that looks a little bit tired to me now, the current 4-hour trend, so we will have a slow grind on that. So likely to be Tuesday, I would say. All right. So depending on which one is cleaner, euro or pound. Okay. Moving on to the Australian dollar. Okay, very healthy. Let's go back to the daily first. I did take a trade. Brandon asked me when I take the trade. I believe was this. Yeah, it was somewhere here, Thursday or Friday, but very little bit. And then I took profit Monday, Tuesday last week. That's the only trade I was taking last week, the whole week. Nothing else. Friday, I already made a plan. I'll trade this week, coming this week. But now we found support on Thursday, and now price to try to break higher. Not top of my list to trade on Aussie. I think may come and test the bottom again around this area, but I don't really want to take this area until this is broken above 67. Then yes, I'll look for a buying opportunity on Aussie. So Aussie still happy to put it on the list as a buyer, but you may want to consider either two area you want to buy. If you want to be aggressive, buy on 66. But if that's pull back to 66, this area, I assume euro and pound will pull back and they are stronger. So I would suggest to buy euro or pound. And then until this is broken, maybe easier to capture on this because pound on euro maybe is going way up already and you're way into your trade. You may want to scale in into something because the job is to sell US dollar. All right. Whatever present the best, cleanest trading opportunity, it could be Aussie by then in the later part of the week. And you may want to consider to get this as a scaling, so add on to your position. But make sure if you do that, lock your entry or take some profit on your first trade. So you don't want to risk more of your capital on taking extra trades, scaling in, okay? So with this, I would definitely draw something on that because that way I would remember when I go back to the chart tomorrow afternoon, most likely tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow morning's no point looking at chart. Draw that. So you know, okay, this needs to be broken and also set an alert. I wanted to clean break 67, so 6730, right? So I need this cleanly break first, all right? So once you set the alert, done. You don't need to go back to the chart maybe tomorrow afternoon to have a quick look. Kiwi, New Zealand dollar is not top of my list. I don't really like the behavior, the movement of this chart. So I'm happy to leave it. Dollar Swiss, I'm never a big Swiss trader, but you can see we are seeing some weakness on dollar compared to Swissy, which is great. So I'll use that to my advantage to trade euro, okay? Dollar CAD, okay, finally, we're seeing a rejection. Interesting. So maybe I will be a cat seller too, a buyer too, and sell the US dollar. Perfect. This one will be a bit advanced actually. Okay, so we do. The direction is still down, so weekly is downtrend. Daily we have a change of trend, but I will use a weekly as my main guide. Dropping down to 1 hour. All right, this is where you look for your elegant entry. We have a change of trend already. So potentially on Monday, in here, this area here, I might Tuesday, when at a smaller time frame, 5 minutes, have a change of trend here. I could be selling this, or I could be selling it as on another method on the Tuesday daily pivot stop loss here. So depends on that, but put that on the list. I want to be a cat buyer, and the key area that I want to pay attention is around this area 13318. So put here, sell, because I want to sell the US dollar, buy the Canadian 13318. Boom, bam, done. So that's great. Dollar yen, whoa. We still have an uptrend in this area, and we're now interacting with the monthly pivot now. Okay, so I'll pop up the previous one. You see, the month before, June, we didn't, it was bullish. So, but in May, we interact with the monthly pivot and pop higher. The big selling bar doesn't scare me because it happened before. It's just some profit taken at the moment. And beside, we are actually in a significant area, the previous high. Now, previous resistance turned into support. That's just pretty basic. all right? And you can even draw a trend line, something like that in this area. So multiple demand zone that I like, pivot, EMA. Now look for good price action to sell the Japanese yen. Now this is a bit advanced. I want to be a yen seller, but this is dollar yen. I also said I want to be a dollar seller. So now we have two currency that I want to sell. But how about this? Make your life a little bit easier. I want to buy the euro. I also want to buy the Aussie. I want to buy the British pound. I want to buy the Canadian dollar. How about I sell the Japanese yen against the pound, against euro, against Canadian dollar and Aussie rather than US dollar? Because you already done you done all your work. Like, okay, I want to be a seller of US dollar. I want to be a seller of yen. I also want to buy the strongest. The strongest is euro and pound and Canadian and Aussie. So that way you know, all right, I don't have to sell the Japanese yen against the US dollar. But one thing very important, use that as your main guide. This must find a good price at good support price action before you take the cross pay. This is how I do the cross pay. I don't need to go into now think of a lot of people will say to you, yeah, I just took a trade. Say for instance, next week I took a trade on buying Australian dollar against New Zealand dollar. Making money doesn't make you a genius. I wouldn't do that because both of them are going to the direction I like. I don't want to pick a difficult pair. So now I can go to the Japanese yen pair because I want to buy. So the first one come up is Aussie. Well, very interesting actually. So I know we have a trying to change the trend through this area, but we do have a low test bar. Until this cleanly broken, we still do have some room to the upside, at least to around this area. So option one is Aussie, but not the strongest. So in here, so could buy Aussie. Let's have a look at euro yen. I assume it's already bullish. More bullish than Aussie anyway, because it's still on a strong uptrend and coincide with this area here. So let's draw a box through here. Right. All I need to do is Monday, Tuesday is on my list to buy on the 1 hour. Look for a change of trend. So maybe above 15636 area, I'll look to be a buyer. But checking on the previous, something like this. Something like that. Okay. To get in or retest, doesn't matter. So this needs to break first. Yeah. So keep an eye on that. I will now draw the stuff that I just draw roughly. So that way I know. So I don't, when you are during the week, you don't need to go back to a weekly and a daily. That's your weekend job. You know you got an uptrend. All you do is now look for a great, elegant entry. Yeah. So this trend line area needs to break. So I want to be, I don't want to miss this. So I want to put this as 15614. All right. Boom. Pop it there. If price comes to this trend line area, then I will go back to the chart to set my entry. I want to be a buyer. Where to? I would take some profit off the table just before the last swing high. So short-term trade. So whether I take it or not, we'll see, but it's on the list. Pound. Yeah, it's still on the uptrend, but I prefer Euro chart because it's got a little bit more pullback. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Let's have a look at the 1 hour. Yeah, I prefer Euro. I don't like the chart on pound because it's not going to be a big reward to risk. What I mean by that is price needs to break above here before I consider to take the trade. And the swing high is barely just a 1-to-1. Not enough reward to risk for me. So leave it. Canadian yen. Oh, it's a good pullback. Right, great. So now we got a similar picture like the euro. So back to the area, and let's have a look at the monthly pivot. Oh, spot on. I love that, actually. I like monthly pivot. I like the support resistance area. I like the oversold indicator from stochastic. All right. Hasn't seen that for a while, for actually a month or two, but did you see here? Oversold, price bounce. So we are in an oversold territory, coincide with a lot of conferences. I like that. So CAD is on the list. CAD yen is on the list for me. Boom. Right. Simple then. Price break above this 107.50 area. I'll look to be a buyer. Job done. On forex recap, very simple. Euro dollar on my list to buy, pound dollar on my list to buy, dollar CAD on my list to sell. I want to sell the yen, but it's only 2 pair. Euro yen, CAD yen, 5 pair, and then 2 indices. S&P 500 and NASDAQ I want to buy. Done. You have 7 pairs that you want to look at next week. I just narrowed down from this, if I may show you. This is the indice. How many goddamn indices in there? 50, 100, I don't know, 50 say. Forex, 100. Definitely 100. We'll narrow it down to 7. We just narrow it down to 7. That's your job for next week. You don't need to go to find opportunity through here. I done that. We done that together in 7. Oh yeah, I haven't touched base on gold and silver and oil. Let's go to oil first. Very quick, very quick. Oil, I have 0 interest to trade. I'll explain to you why. One market I don't trade. Sideways. Look at this. This is a weekly bar. That particular week sold off. After that, we have not managed to break below or above since May. I have 0 interest. If I have 0 interest, don't trade. I suggest you guys don't either. There's no point. Gold, very interesting. Okay. We're ranging in this area, which I done a video a couple of weeks ago. I want to be a buyer of gold, but mainly the gold miner. So to trade gold is probably too early unless it breaks in here or drop lower to around this 1850 for me consider to buy. I like to see a drop because when it drop, I can buy. I haven't bought it yet. Next week will be the time that I'm looking to buy some of the gold stock. I will be putting the gold stock prices potential on my Discord group. You guys are welcome to see it. I personally think we can have a good return for 3 months, 50% investment return, not trading return, on investing in gold. Okay, I'll explain more a bit later in the second part. But it's too early to do anything at the moment, so just put down the list. 1850 may buy, but if it's drop to 1850, this area, silver is better to buy. Reason why is it's got a stronger support level. Yeah, if gold decided to drop lower, I would think silver would do the same to drop lower. Price action, current price action right here, the daily trend, we have a downtrend. So why do I want to buy? It's very advanced, but I'll go through that in a moment. Here is a downtrend, which like here, we have a downtrend, but when you see come to this area, we have a strong buy. Okay, so we do have this so-called ABC correction. I like to see that push down to this area. If it does, I will look for price action like that. The biggest selling bar, we call it the exhaustion bar. So this exhaustive selling and turn into a small pin bar, buy it in this area. Yeah, coincide with this and also use again the pivot level, hopefully into your advantage. Not so, but yeah, still a good level to that to go for a buy. Sorry, baby, I'm doing a webinar. Can you go out, please? Please. Can I excuse a second? Sorry. Sorry about it, guys. Intruder. Yeah, so back to silver is, yeah, this level I want to buy, but say similar price action. Okay. So that's it for me to do planning. I hope some of you have learned something out of it. I'm going to stop sharing now. Okay. I'm going to stop off on the YouTube now. I will continue for my members only. What we'll do now on the next step is to drill down on how I use my simple trend following system, price action. So if you guys do want to learn more, you're welcome to join our program. Drop me a message. I'll add you there for a trial period, and that will really help you with the trading, because we do provide a lot more support than just the planning. But hopefully you learned something out of it. If you have any questions, just drop me a message on YouTube or other social media platform. Thank you so much for watching. Okay.